Here it is, AKAPADers. Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey for the 31 Days of Dread. We're going into day 17. This is the big one, the one you've been waiting for. We're going to discuss a little bit of how this movie came about, why it's important, and why it's also a harbinger of doom. Let's go. And welcome back to it, my AKAPADers, my friends, some of my family. What is up? Peter A. DeLuca here, aka Pad the Film Buff from AKAPAD.com. Peter A. DeLuca. Anyway, guys, I'm excited to talk to you about this one because when this movie came out, I'm not joking, I was so curious what the film reviewers, what the film world, what all the content creators, the YouTubers, the people just like me thought about it. And guess what? Everyone, you guessed it, trashed Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey. It's shocking after I've seen this movie because for only $100,000, someone took what recently became a public domain character. If you're not familiar with what that means, public domain is it's open. Anyone can use that character. That character no longer is bankable unless you do something completely unique with it, and that's what this guy did. And who's our guy? Raise Frack Witterfield, RFW. We're just going to call him RFW. This guy has a big name. He is a weapon when it comes to filmmaking. He's his own editor. I'm sure he does a whole lot more on the back end. This guy knows movies through and through. For $100,000, sorry, did I say $100 million? $100,000, he makes a visually stunning movie. He makes a movie that is fantastic to look at. Now, this movie begins with a little bit of a cartoon narration, a backstory of how we got where we are. And it explains everything, people. It perfectly explains everything. If you want to reverse engineer a silent, giant, murderous, yellow Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, but if you want to just explain how these two can be giant and silent and blood hungry and angry, this opening narration perfectly does that. Now, when I was watching this movie, something occurred to me which actually made it a million times better. See, when Christopher Robin, when he encounters Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, Piglet, right, he sees them as cartoons or abstractions or stuffed animals, right? I believe the original story is his stuffed animals kind of come to life and he goes to a place in the forest and he gets to hang out with them, but they're stuffed animals and Disney made them Disney style cartoons. This movie gives us images of Piglet and Winnie the Pooh, but what if when we watch the movie, same as a stage play, we see them differently? We can see the Winnie the Pooh in this movie and see that character as cartoony, not as real, not a guy in a bear mask. And I feel like that point alone killed the movie for a lot of reviewers. I really do. I feel like people were expecting something, they just didn't know what it was, and they didn't like what they saw. Well, they disliked it to the point of $5.2 million, and that pretty much launched our boy's career, because he's got a sequel coming next year. And he's got Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare and Bambi the Reckoning in production. I would like to watch every single movie that this guy made. He made other movies. He's only been at it for a few years. The Killing Tree, the Area 51 incident. He's also a composer. I mean, like, this dude is a weapon. And I'm fascinated by young, hungry directors, filmmakers, content boys that just go and they pour everything that they can do into something. Like this is something very unique. It kind of brings me back to Robert Rodriguez, who really was an absolute weapon. Still is for a lot of his movies. Kind of sad that he became just a mid-tier Disney director at this point. I did like his Billie Eilish concert for Disney Plus. This movie's fantastic. This movie is awesome. The deaths are there. The logic is there. The flow of the plot is there. Christopher Robin gets hung up and tortured. This movie has it all. It has everything you would want. It has a wonderful wood chipper death, which is somewhat, I think that there was already another movie we saw this year that had a wood chipper death. I don't care. I love them all. Someone on YouTube, I hope, has made a montage of wood chipper deaths. But this movie hits all of the unstoppable beast slasher horror tropes that we love. So Winnie the Pooh essentially is a Jason Voorhees in this movie, or he's a Victor Crow Hatchet, just a unstoppable force. Leatherface later became very much like this in, as the Texas Chainsaw franchise marched on. It's great to watch because when you see this type of antagonist, hunter, killer, really be unstoppable, taking bullets, taking electricity, get stabbed, always move slow. It really comes off and programs the audience as a unstoppable force, and you immediately you're in fear of anyone that's in the presence of this. And this movie nails it. Makes it so much fun. I will watch this movie again just off of the optics alone. I think the visuals are beautiful. I really do, even though they show horrific things. But there's incredible lighting throughout this entire movie. AKAPAD here, the film buff, signing out. My printer's kind of going crazy. I'm not sure why. So next up, tomorrow, we're going to be doing a absolute movie. This movie blew me away. It's on Hulu. Go watch it before we sit down and talk about it. It's called Slaughterhouse. It's a sloth, and it's a house. It's a sorority house, but it's a slaughterhouse. In this movie, holy crap, I loved it. Can't wait to talk to you about it. What are we doing after that? We do have the next. You know what? Maybe tomorrow we'll review a little bit more of what the next rollout is. But we got some comedies, we got some more cartoons, we got Swamp Thing coming. We got a lot of cool things. Kevin Williamson block with the new Scream and Dawson's Creek. So just get ready. We are marching towards that 31st banger for the 31 Days of Dread, guys. Thank you.